Alcott writes, "To live for one's principles at all costs is a dangerous speculation, and the failure of an ideal, no matter how humane and noble, is harder for the world to forgive and forget than bank robbery or the grand swindles of corrupt politicians." Which poses the questions: has there ever been a time in your life when you lived for your principles? How did it turn out? Do you see any similarities or differences between your experience and the utopians at the Fruitland Farms? Well, everybody has their own principles, which makes them the person they are today. Some people have the same principles, some do not. Saying that does not explain why the utopians had the principles that they did, but they had them, so they always stuck with them. One principle that stuck out to me was how they did not eat meat no matter what. It stuck out to me because I love food and I love to eat. One of my favorite things to do is eat meat. So to me, not eating meat was a bad principle to live by. But that's how it was, and it's just how they lived. There have been times that I've lived for my principles? Well, of course, everybody has. And there's been numerous times where I've stood by my principles. And lots of times, my principles came into effect when I'm with my friends. Yes, we had good times, but when I stand by my principles, I never leave them. And so with my principles, a good time can go to a bad time real quick. If you make good principles for yourself, then there's no limit to what you could do. If you make bad principles for yourself and decide to stick with them, well, your future doesn't seem so bright. You might want to look into changing that. Why? Because your principles make you who you are and will always affect the choices you make towards your future. So, when you make bad principles, you're making a bad future for yourself. The utopian's principles could go either way, though, depending on how you look at it. To a vegetarian, the principle of not eating meat is a good idea. But to a big-time meat eater, they're more likely to think that that principle was real dumb. To me, though, that principle is a bad one, but also a weird one. Yes, they did not want to harm animals, but meat is a big protein carrier, which they needed, because with their health system back then, health was of the essence. My principle on loved ones is if I have love for you, then you are more important than a regular friend or person, and will also come before me. Why? Because there's that old saying, family first, to me. Family first. And to me, my loved ones are my family, which include my best friends and other people that are receiving my love. One thing that stuck out to me about the utopians is how the men seemed to care more about their ideals and their principles than they did about their loved ones or the people they said they loved. And at some point, you think they would just stop and think about their loved ones and think, are my principles really more important than my loved ones? Well, to me, if principles are more important than your wife or kids or any other family member or anybody else that you say you love, maybe you should have changed the way they were so that people they love came before their principles and not the other way around.